They say old buildings have character, history, secrets. Maya had just moved into apartment 3B of the Hollow Pines complex. It was nothing special. Cheap rent, slightly cracked walls, flickering hallway lights. But for someone starting over, it was perfect. She moved in on a cloudy Tuesday. The hallway was quiet. Too quiet. No welcome from neighbors, no distant music or TV, just the hum of dim overhead lighting. As she dragged her final box through the corridor, something caught her eye. A door, directly across from her unit. Apartment 3A. It was odd because when the landlord showed her the place last week, there was no mention of a 3A. In fact, she remembered clearly. He said, "You're at the end of the hall, no neighbors across from you." And yet, there it was. A dusty brown door with a brass knob and no number. She stared at it for a long time, then shrugged it off. Maybe he just didn't mention it. Maybe it was storage. That night she unpacked in silence. No noise from the hall, no footsteps, nothing, until 3:33 a.m. A faint knock, not at her door. Across the hall, then silence. The next morning, Maya stepped into the hallway, half expecting to see the strange door again. But it was gone. Where apartment 3A had been was now just a blank painted-over wall. No seams, no handle, just smooth drywall. She stood there, staring in disbelief. She could have sworn, no, she knew there was a door there last night. Later, she knocked on the landlord's door downstairs. "Hey," she asked casually, "what's up with the unit across from mine?" He looked confused. "What do you mean?" "Apartment 3A." "There is no 3A," he said flatly. 3B is the last apartment on that floor. Always has been. She didn't press, but something in his eyes said he wasn't just confused. He was hiding something. That night, she placed a sticky note on the wall where the door had been, just to be sure she wasn't going crazy. At exactly 3:33 a.m., she woke up again. This time not to a knock, but to the sound of the sticky note fluttering to the floor, like it had been peeled off by someone on the other side. The following night, Maya didn't sleep. She sat in bed, eyes fixed on the door, waiting, listening. The hallway was silent. Her clock blinked 3:32, then 3:33. That's when she heard it. A whisper, faint, almost inaudible. A voice that didn't belong. Maya. Her name drawn out like a sigh from behind a wall. She bolted upright, pressed her ear to the door. Nothing. She opened it slowly. The hallway was dark, bathed in flickering yellow light, and the door, it was back. But this time it was open, just a crack. From inside came a low hum, almost like static. And under it, whispers, not one voice, many, layered, repeating. "Maya, come see, come see." She slammed her door shut and locked it. Her phone buzzed, a message. "Unknown number. Don't ignore them. They don't like that." She stared at the screen, heart pounding, and for the first time she realized the whispers hadn't stopped. They were getting louder. Maya wasn't sleeping anymore. She barely blinked. She needed proof that she wasn't going insane, that the door, the room, was real. She bought a roll of red electrical tape and returned home just before sunset. With shaking hands, she made a bold red X across where the door had reappeared the night before. She stuck it down firmly, even took a photo for evidence. Then she waited. Midnight. Nothing. 1 a.m. Her eyes burned. 2:47 a.m. Her phone buzzed. No messages, just a buzz. 3:33 a.m. A creak. She slowly stood up and opened her door. The hallway was silent, and the red tape gone. No X, no residue, just smooth wall. But something was different tonight. Her front door, deep scratch marks carved through the paint, as if something had clawed at it. 4 long, jagged lines. She stepped back slowly, shut the door, and locked every bolt. That's when she noticed the camera. She had set up an old phone facing the hallway just in case. With trembling fingers, she opened the recording. For most of the night, nothing. Stillness. Silence. Then, at 3:33 a.m., the red tape peeled itself away as if pulled from the inside. And then, a tall, thin figure stepped out of the wall. It stood facing her door for 5 minutes. No movement, no sound, just staring. Until it took one step forward, and then it grinned. She didn't leave her apartment for 2 days, not even to check the mail. The footage played over and over in her mind. That thing, that grin, the way it stood like it was waiting for an invitation. On the third night, her friend Olivia came to visit. Maya didn't want to be alone anymore. She showed Olivia the video. At first, Olivia laughed nervously until she saw it. Frame by frame, they watched the man in the hall lean closer to the camera. His face was pale, almost rubbery. Skin sagged where eyes should have been, and that grin stretched impossibly wide, teeth too long, too many. Then something new. At the very end of the video, the figure turned to look directly into the camera, almost like it knew they'd be watching. The moment Olivia saw it, her smile faded. And then, 3 soft knocks echoed from Maya's closet. They both froze. Maya turned toward the sound, breath caught in her throat. Knock, knock, knock. Is there someone in there? Olivia whispered. Maya shook her head. There can't be. She stepped forward, knelt slowly, and opened the door. Nothing. Just her coats. But behind the coats, scratched into the drywall, were the words, "I'm getting closer." Maya had to know what was happening. She dug through building records, asked neighbors, those who still answered the door. Most looked away when she mentioned the room across the hall. One old man on the first floor finally gave in. "You're in 3B, he asked, eyes wide. "They should have sealed that floor off." "What are you talking about?" "There used to be a 3A years ago. Belonged to a woman named Evelyn. Lived alone, kept to herself, always staring at the hallway. And she went missing, no sign of her. One day she just vanished. Did they ever find her?" The old man shook his head. "They tried. The police broke down the wall where her unit used to be. Nothing but bricks and dust." "But I've seen the door," Maya whispered. He leaned in closer. "Then it's starting again." "What is?" He didn't answer. He just said, "Don't open it, no matter what you hear. Don't let her out." That night, Maya sat in bed, eyes locked on her door. 3:33 a.m. came, and from the hallway, she heard a new sound, a soft female voice humming an old lullaby. And from deep within the wall, a second voice joined in, one that sounded just like hers. She couldn't remember falling asleep, but when Maya opened her eyes, it was daylight. Her head ached, her limbs were heavy. She sat up, confused. The curtains were drawn, her shoes were on, and her front door was unlocked. That's when she noticed her phone. 10 new photos, all from last night. They were pictures of her, asleep in bed, but in the corner of each photo, a reflection, a mirror just barely in frame, and inside it, her, except not. The Maya in the reflection was smiling, eyes wide, expression frozen, watching her sleep. She scrolled faster, panic rising. In the last photo, the reflection wasn't in the mirror anymore. It was standing at the foot of her bed. She checked every corner of the apartment. Nothing. No signs of forced entry. But on the bathroom mirror, a message written in fog. "I like your life." That night, the hallway was silent. No whispers, no knocking, just silence. Maya watched through the peephole, phone recording, heart racing. At exactly 3:33 a.m., the wall across the hall rippled. like heat waves off pavement. And then the door reappeared, wide open. Inside, only darkness. Not a single detail. A black void swallowing everything. And on her doormat, a note. One word. Don't. She backed away, breath shallow, eyes fixed on the door that shouldn't exist. Then her phone buzzed. A message from Olivia. "I'm outside. Can you let me in?" But when she looked at the peephole, no one was there. Another message. "I forgot my key. Hurry." Maya typed back. "I can't see you. Where are you?" The reply came instantly. "Behind you." She turned. Nothing. She looked back at her phone. The conversation was gone. No messages. Then, a knock at the door. A soft whisper from the other side. "You can open it now." Maya should have run. Should have left that cursed building and never looked back. But she was past fear now. She needed answers. So she stepped into the hallway. The door across the hall stood open, inviting. The air was cold, too cold. Her breath came out in clouds. She stepped inside. The darkness faded slowly, revealing a room covered in mirrors, hundreds of them, hanging, leaning, stacked in corners. Every reflection was wrong. In one, she was smiling. In another, crying blood. One showed her clawing at the walls, screaming. But one mirror stood at the far end. Perfect. Untouched. She stepped closer, drawn to it. Inside the mirror stood another Maya. Expressionless. Still. And then, as Maya raised her hand to touch the glass, the reflection moved first. It smiled. Then it lifted its hand and tapped once. From behind her. Something was in the room with her. She turned around, but the room was empty. She turned back to the mirror. The reflection was gone. Just her face now, pale and terrified, until her reflection leaned in close, even though she wasn't moving, and whispered, "She's ready." Maya ran. She burst out of the room, slammed her apartment door, and locked it. All of it, deadbolts, chains, every latch she had. She sat on the floor, shaking, staring at the peephole. The hallway was empty, but something had changed. The air felt different, thicker, heavy with the scent of metal and old dust. She grabbed her phone, tried to call Olivia. No signal, no Wi-Fi, nothing. The screen glitched, then went black. A single notification appeared in red letters, "Welcome home." And then knocking, not from the front door, from inside the walls. Knock, knock, knock. The lights flickered, then cut out completely. Her apartment was swallowed in pitch black. And then footsteps, soft, bare. Inside her apartment. Maya didn't move, didn't breathe. Then something moved in the dark. A figure, slowly taking shape in front of her. It looked like her, but wrong. The same smile from the mirror, the same wide eyes, a version of her twisted by something that should never have existed. The doppelganger crouched down to meet her gaze and whispered, "You looked so lonely." Maya tried to scream, but no sound came. The figure leaned in and pressed its forehead to hers, and then everything went cold. When the sun rose, apartment 3B was silent. The hallway looked normal. The wall across from her unit was smooth, seamless. No door, no scratches, no Maya. The landlord passed by that morning, whistling quietly. He paused outside the unit, looked at the blank wall across the hall, and kept walking. He didn't notice the faint humming coming from inside the apartment. A soft, familiar voice singing an old lullaby. Back inside, Maya stood in front of her mirror, smiling. Still, unblinking. But the reflection behind her was different now. It was trying to move, trying to scream, trying to get out.